Today, that we have talked about and practiced about psychosomatically, how can we deeply go into the space of the safety of the nervous system. But then some of you have asked me what happens afterwards. The happening afterwards is not so much belongs to the way you want to do things, how you have conducted yourself. So it's from safety of the nervous system, and then it will go into the place of seeing. So when that seeing comes, when the nervous system settles, what happens is something very uncomfortable become visible, because most of you guys are going through that. So what happens is that visible part, um, the self people thought they were healing, was never real. When I say that it was never real, it was, I'm not talking about medical conditions, I'm talking about the patterns of the identity, because it's not false in the space of a moral sense, but it's constructed, a survival-based identity that formed to navigate a threat, belonging and meaning. So the next step is, when you're seeing this identity clearing without trying to fix it, it's improve it, or it goes into a place of transcending it. So where the most teachings fail in humanity is because what follows is not comforting. So this is at the moment, I feel like collectively we all are experiencing, um, human suffering is not caused by trauma alone. It is caused by a mistaken survival structure for a self. Now, yes, the scriptures says this is the ego self, and this is this self, and that is this self. But the identities can be still coming into the place of selves as spiritual self, healing warrior self, all these things. So realization after coming the nervous system into a place, it dissolves the assumption that the structure is you or me. So this is not so much psychological insight. It's not a spiritual language. It's not a philosophy. It is a biological part, that existential scene. And it happens after safety, but not way before that, because a lot of people cannot calm their nervous system. So they learn these texts from practicing and coming into a collective practice. They really can't go into the depth, because they think that their identity has to fix it. So when the safety is present, what will happen? The body begins to reveal something quietly astonishing. Experience is happening, but it's not because you're doing things correctly. Perception is functioning. Intelligence is moving life without a manager. Does that make sense? It will make sense when we gently move into the class. So have you seen the breathes? It's not because you're doing it, because not that you have learned something perfectly to do. It is not something that you have mastered. But when your nervous system settles, it doesn't go into the highs and the lows of it. The sensations will sense things, thoughts will arise, emotions will move, and the life occupies the space that you had the previous identity. So, um, nowhere in direct experience is there a separate controller. So the purpose of life is not becoming something. It's not, notice that life is already complete without the narrator. So this cannot be understood conceptually. So that's why it has to be recognized in somatically, silently, unmistakably. So we have to go into the depth of the class today. So just finding that space, settling into that space, observe the mind, and don't say it's your mind, because it's not your mind or the body in this level of the practice. And the less you have the ownership of this body, it is easy for you to come into the space that I am collectively sharing with you. So saying that, I will move the camera towards Darren, keep that elongation happening, and let go of that whole improvement, spiritual identities, let go of that trauma identity, let go of that healing identity, let go of that wounded but special identities. All of them reinforce the same illusion. So there is someone here who must arrive somewhere that believes is final source of suffering. Media does it, social media does it, all those platforms, they do it. But belief is the final. So this belief is the final source of suffering, not trauma, not the nervous system, not the society. So now when you come into that place of a gentle breath, shrug the shoulders up, breath out and drop the shoulders. And let that life discovering itself as it is through this form without the ownership. Can you do that? Now take a deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, tilt the head back and massage your back of the skull. Open and close the mouth wider. You're not here to come into any achievement. You're not coming here for not enlightenment, not contribution. Just observe. Open and close the mouth a few times and chin to the chest and collapse the spine. Let go of that legacy. Just a seated cat. Breathing in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate. Stretch that tongue. It's a muscle, so we need to stretch that, especially right onto the roof, so that if the snoring is happening, you can lengthen and work it out, that muscle, so it doesn't drop back. And breathe out. Inner lock, navel lock, throat lock. So the core movement of this practice, core movement of this movement is life is waking up to the fact that it was never separate from itself. Back to the center. Now take a deep breath in and twist the spine to the right side. Stomach pulled in and opening up that space of the chest. Nothing on ownership, nothing sort of I need to improve it. When this can seen, when this level of understanding can be seen, there's a miracle happen. Gently come back into the center. Change the formation of the legs. Take another deep breath in and breath out to elongate that breath and twist the spine to the left. So now compassion is not a word that you use. It is more natural. Ethics are not imposed. Service happens without an identity. So there's nothing to be threat to your identity because you no longer hold the identity as a protection. Back into the center. Now take a deep breath in and stretch the neck to the right. Shoulders drop. Create space. Observe the collarbone. Now even death, failure, fear, they all loses its psychological weight. Back into the center. Stretch the head onto the other side. So now the present moment, back into the center. Take a moment to pause here. Can you sense that the meaning stops being searched for? Why very few teachers say this clearly? Because it cannot be packaged, even it's been packaged a lot. It ends the dependency. It does not flatter the ego. It does not create a followers. It dissolves the teacher too. And yet, this is what the nervous system was preparing the ground for all along. Back into the center. The arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palm facing up, and very gently holding onto the left wrist and stretch the body in that elongation towards the right side. So you're not tightening the rib cage, you're elongating the spine, you're very much conscious about the rib cage, you're conscious about giving the space to the lung, but then you're taking that stretch in deep into the fascia, opening up that space, and let the breath do the work back into the center, and relax and let go of the arms, and let the arms drop into a place where it's normally just gently dropping into it. So on the final truth, just between us, your work is already pointing here. You're not adding something new in this practice. You're standing at the threshold where healing becomes honesty, safety becomes seen, practice becomes the life recognizing itself. This is not for everyone, but is for now, for this particular group. Take a deep breath in, arms raised onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, thumbs facing up. Now very gently holding onto the right wrist, and you do the same thing, keeping that elongation on the spine. Keep the energy open and taking that stretch. So the nervous system safety is not the destination, it is the ground. Is it what allows real to work begin? So the most modern healing stops there because their safety heals like relief, but relief is not realization. Safety stabilizes the organism, it does not reveal the truth. Now gently come into the center, breath out. Take a moment. So what happens once safety is present? The next step is not more healing. It is the disillusionment, what comes after safety and why if you go there. Now take a deep breath in, palms onto the pranam position. Just observe the breath. When the nervous system settles, something very uncomfortable becomes visible. The self people thought they were healing was not real, not false in a moral sense, but constructed, survival based that form and navigate the thread, belonging and meaning. Now relax and very gently bring the left leg into the back, shoulders roll back, arms raise onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, gentle arch into the back if you can. Not so much force, just that opening, lifting up the heart space a little bit, the throat place, not tilting the head back. Huh? Huh? Yeah, he did. Arms raised onto the crown, gentle arch, not tilting the head back so much. Breath out, spread the wings. I'll let the arms drop into the front. It may be with the elbows want to drop. It may be the wrists want to drop. It may be the palms want to drop. It may be for you today is walking the palms into the front. Get that extension of the armpit. Just observe the energy on the lymph nodes, where very gently you're sweeping through it. Gently allow it to drain gently. And taking a couple of more deep breaths in, palms facing up. of seeing that the identity clearly without trying to fix it. Nothing to improve, just transcend it. Now, you can't look at this space if you still have an identity and you want in that identity to fix things. This is the false, that I'm a man, I am this, I'm that, I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that. So this is gone way past that, this level of understanding and realization. Now take a deep breath in, very gently coming back. Shoulders relax and just open. Observe the body and see where the body is sinking, where the body can be lifted up, elevated, where the breath can come into the consciousness, where thoughts being observed into a plan. This is not to shut anything. Now take a couple of deep breaths in the plank and drop the knees and stretch the spine. Now this can be knees wide apart. This can be very gently allow in the bum to drop into the heels, sole of the feet looking up. So we are working on the fascia of the foot. So it is not inflamed. We are breathing into those spaces. So we are observing also the body. We are also observing the breath. We are observing the thoughts. We are observing the identity that has been structured and came a long way, but now it is also releasing that when you start observing it. Because what follows is not comforting in any level. The most important thing we're not seeing collectively is human suffering is not caused by trauma alone, it's caused by mistaking a survival structure for self. From safety to seeing beyond the illusion of self. So now, crawling and bring the chest into the front. Now drop the belly, soften the hips, move the hips side to side, very gently. Now take a deep breath in and elbows onto the floor, very gently coming into that Bhujangasana. Shoulders relax, opening up. Now stabilization, trauma stabilization helps the structure to relax. But realization dissolves the assumption that the structure is me. And do you understand that deep healing there? Overlooking onto the right side, back into the center, onto the left side, back into the center, and drop the third eye onto the floor, onto the hands, and roll the space of the third eye just so that you relax from that structure is me. And as I said before, this is not a psychological insight. It's not a spiritual language. It is not a philosophy. It is biological. It is the existential scene. And it happens after safety, not before. So the real next moment is beyond the words. When safety is present, the body begins to reveal something quietly astonishing. Now, palms where the elbows are, breathing in into an up face. So you elevate it from the cobra to the up face. And we very gently breathe out towards the down face. So in this posture, let the experience to happen. Let the perception to function. Let the intelligence is moving life without a manager. Whether you want to experience 6 cycles of breath, that's up to you. Now, once that happens, observe the feet, observe the heels, observe the knee, observe the hips, observation. Alignment has to come naturally here. Observe the palms, observe the fingers, observe the elbows. Now very gently bring that left foot into the pigeon pose. Shoulders open and chest open. Let's go deeper into the practice now. Arms very gently raised back into the crown, interlacing the fingers, very gentle arch. Breath out, spread the wings and drop. Now walk those palms into the front or the elbows and observe, let the breath breathe, let the sensation sense, let the thoughts arise, let the emotions to move. So basically life has become the manager, but I don't like to use that. Nothing is managing here. Nowhere in direct experience is there a separate controller. The purpose of life is not becoming something. It's not to notice that life is already complete without that narrator. This cannot be understood conceptually. So recognize somatically, silently, unmistakably. Now, all those emails, all those messages comes from a place of course, humanity, but it still comes from a character. So humanity is trying to heal the character instead of questioning the assumption that there is a character at the center. Just put that into the space so that it will allow you to observe from that endless self improvement, spiritual identities, trauma identities, heal identities, wounded, but special identities, disease need to be fixed. That is. Now, when you come into that realization, just the realization, you don't have to get a pearl of words there or a memory there or future projections there. But if that's happening in the background, let it happen. That's fine. But you are coming to know about it from a place of not a character anymore. To take a deep breath in, very gently coming back into the space of a plank. So now the belief is the final source of suffering, not the trauma, not the nervous system, not the society. So where the belief comes from? It's that constant level of news, media, reprogramming, collectively so much. Now very gently drop the knees. Give a good rotation to the hips. Clean it out. Not on a physical sense. Onto the other side. Get that space of the digestion. Back to life. Push the hips into the front. Push the hips into the back. See, now when this collective consciousness on a very high level is celebrated, it loves the poses. So enjoy the pose. So what is the true purpose of life? Life is discovering itself as itself through this form without the ownership. Where do we suffer most when we try to have that ownership on any level? Ownership to the health, ownership to the wealth, ownership to the relationship, ownership to the materials, ownership for the future, ownership for the legacy. Don't you think so? Ownership for safety. So Ask where things have fed you a false sense. Ownership for achievement, ownership for enlightenment, ownership for contribution, ownership. So opposite to that, no achievement, no enlightenment, no contribution, not legacy. Those may happen. They're side effects. The core movement is life is waking up to the fact that it was never separate from itself. So when you took ownership, roles, identities, you have separate life. Now, when that is seen, what is happening? Compassion is not a practice anymore. Ethics are not imposed. Service happens without the identity. Service can be easily happening in all levels without the identity. So then what happens? Death loses its that psychological weight. Meaning stops being searched for. Now very gently crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Breathing in into up face. Breathe out towards the down face. Breathing in into a plank. And drop the knees and come into a cat pose. Breathe out. So get the wrists under the armpits. Get the knees under the hips. Breathing in into a cow. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Now to a neutral spine and left arm reaching up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench under the armpit. Very gently give into that space of the shoulder blade. Take a couple of moments. Your practice cannot be packaged. It ends all dependency. It does not flatter the ego. Of course, your character is not interested in life because it does not flatter the ego. It does not create followers, of course. No flattering on the ego. Even it dissolves the teaching to be more present. It dissolves the teach. Of course, you have the respect for it. This is what is life is preparing you for. Take a deep breath in and very gently coming back. Completely breathe out to the cat. Breathing into the cow. Breath out to the cat. Neutral spine. Right arm reaching up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. Right reaching into the back under the armpit. So observe. So your work is already pointing here. You're not adding something new. You're standing at the threshold where healing becomes honesty. Safety has become more of a scene. Practice become more life recognizing itself. And I always say this is not for everyone because people are not interested in these things. People are interested in something. The ego can still be the performer, manager. So very gently coming back and completely breathe out with the cat. Breathing in into a cow. Breathe out. Breathing in. Neutral spine. Now, very gently give a rotation to the hips again. Body rotation. And very gently push the hips into the front, into the back, and very gently. Now, you can observe the settle the nervous system, witness the thoughts. Now you ask, who am I beyond the roles? Feel the body breathing, yet see that no, I controls it, observe it. Notice thoughts, yet see they rise, not because I'm navigating it by themselves. Now reflect without a story what remains. When you expand on why this matters, when the identity rests, you realize life is living itself. This is a freedom. You'll enrich. Your first glimpse beyond illusion is when you observe the breath. You call it witnessing. You learn to observe thoughts without clinging. Now let it deepen as we rest here. If the breath comes and goes, if the thoughts comes and go, what is constant? Now let the silence be your answer. In that silence, feel life is happening. Why is this matters? Because when we dissolve the I, you return to the pure being, a life lived without clinging. Deep reflection give you the depth for you to guide through the entire journey. The nervous system is safe now in this level. When the safety is established, you no longer need the story of me. So remind yourself today, beyond the illusion, you realize you're not the roles you play. Feel life is breathing itself through you beyond the identity. Return to the core. This class was never about adding more. It's about discovering what remains when all else falls away. By bringing all these themes back, child pose. Now crown of the head onto the floor, lift up the buttocks and just activate the pituitary and the pineal energy. Roll back onto the third eye and the fist on the third. Now, on the core thread of the summary of this part is, you begin with the nervous system. Only when safety is present and deeper your realization begin. The breath is your anchor. It reveals the reality beyond the illusion. Illusions are the stories we all have clung to. Roles, identities, achievements, fears, safety. Witnessing is a practice. Observing thoughts without judgment loosens the grip of me. Now, as the identity dissolves, you rest in pure being. You don't have to put another person on that space. So this is why the practice matters, because life follows freely when release clinging. Ultimately, you return not to a new identity, but to life living itself. Now wake up the spine one vertebra at a time. Now, if you say, take the asana, pranayama, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So nervous system is safety, is not the destination. It is the ground. It is what allows the real work to begin. But relief is not a realization. The organism, it does not reveal the truth. Once the safety is present, the next step is not more healing. It is letting go of that illusion. Now, very gently lift up the hips. Right arm reaching up, gently working onto the sacrum, left arm reaching up. Do a few more times circling and become the observant of the shoulders, arms. And when you're going to work out a bit more, you can either lift up the heels, you can hold the hips, and coming into that camel pose. You're staying here for a couple of breaths to observe. So the nervous system is settled, something very uncomfortable will become visible. Oh, I'm not good at it. I'm not. This self people thought they were healing was never real. Now support the back and go back into the child pose. As I say, it's not false in a moral sense, but a constructed. So the survival-based identities that are formed to navigate threat, belonging, and meaning. So the next step is, if you have come so far now, seeing that identity clearly without trying to fix it, improve it, or transcend it. And this is the part where most teachings fail humanity, because what follows is not comforting. Now very gently wake up the spine, shoulders relax, chest open. Now very gently stretch the legs into the front, give a rotation, a shake to the legs, and then very gently give a good rotation to the wrist, pointing feet and your hands into the front, flexing your feet and the hand into the back. Give a good rotation to the feet and to the hands, all in. If you can do all four together, even better. So you can do inwards of the feet circles, outwards of the hand circles, or you can do all inwards, all outwards. And just to activate all those spaces. Once you have done that, sole of the feet together, knees wide apart, and just gently butterflying and releasing and dropping the hips, knees, and finding a safe place for the feet. Now take a deep breath in, Once you butterfly, very gently rolling forward to bring that feet, forehead, if the bolts are need, a block need. Try on the start to not to curve the spine, and then once your shoulders roll back, try to use that hips to move forward, and then it's fine if you want to curve the spine and drop a little bit more to come into that space. Now very gently coming back, shoulders roll back, chest open. Now very gently stretch the legs into the front. Slightly bend your knees, pull out the buttocks, arms raise onto the ground, rolling and reaching forward more than touching the toes. You're rolling and taking about 60 cycles of breath. If this is not working, bend your knees and you reach onto the toes. Bend your knees and reach onto the toes. And very gently opening up and straightening that knees while you're rolling forward. Pull the belly in and extend from the lower back, extend from the arms, hamstrings, extend from those calves and shins, and rolling forward. And if this is uncomfortable, bend the knees a bit more and bring the chest onto the knees. Bend the knees more and bring the chest onto the knees. Bend the knees more, and that is a comfortable position, and that's enough. And then when you're breathing, you may want to stretch a little bit more by pushing the heels forward a little bit. Couple of more breaths. Now, very gently, when you let go of the lock, very gently you're letting go of the lock and very gently coming back. Shoulders roll back, opening up. Now stretch the legs when you're coming back. Stretch the legs. Stretch the legs. Roll the shoulders back and palms onto the floor into the back. And very gently you're lifting up the hips. Now, if it is harder for you for some reason, then go for a tabletop. Opening up that throat, not tilting the head back, elongation on the front, and relax. Now bring that knees to the chest to complete. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Engage the core. Breathing in. Chin up. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathe out. Now hold on to the knees. And if you have space, roll back to the floor. Couple of more time rolling into the front and big just to get that spine activated. Also giving a stretch to the spine. Then totally dropping into the back if you have space. And very gently drop the knees to the right side and head turning onto the opposite direction and your arms stretch totally. Palms face up, palms face down. Now very gently stretch the legs to the right side furthermore. Straighten the legs and flex the foot towards you. And keep that left shoulder down as much as possible. Now very gently bring back those knees to the chest. And this time grab the knees and forehead onto the knee on completely on the exhalation. You can't inhale on because it will make it harder for you to reach and grab those knees. Back into the center, relax your upper back and drop the knees onto the opposite direction. Now stretch the legs, flex the foot, overlook into the right side. Back in, knees to the chest, forehead onto the knees. Now take a deep breath in and relax, lock onto the toes and stretch the feet up to the ceiling, bend the knees and push the knees towards the armpits. Expand it a bit more, expand it more. Breathe well. Gently see whether you're inhaling, allowing you to discover a place, allowing your exhale to release a grip or a cling or being clinging to. Very gently bringing the sole of the feet together, knees wide apart. Now try to keep the bum on the floor and drop the knees a little bit more. And if it is comfortable, you can drop the feet onto the floor, still connecting to the soles. But if it's harder, you can keep a bolster underneath there just to relax. Now, some of you can get the heels close to the groin. Some of you won't be able to do that. It's not that important. Just wherever it is comfortable, wherever you want to challenge without the identity of improvement. Now, for most of you, what is good is if your sole of the feet is touching, give the weight of the palm to the thighs to drop a little bit or to the knees and creating a space where the kidneys are, where the ovaries are, to spread a little bit onto the floor. Shoulders relax and just open. So in this, we have let go of that endless self-improvement. Spiritual identities, trauma identities, heal identities, wounded past, special identities. Because all of them reinforce the same illusion. There is someone here who must arrive somewhere. Take a break from that someone. Take a break from that someone must arrive somewhere. That belief is the final source of suffering, not trauma, not the nervous system, not the society. Now, don't bring an answer to this place. Let life discovering itself as itself through this form without the ownership. You don't have to fill up the gap. Now, very gently, because your groins are stretched, very gently bring the knees to the together, sole of the feet on the floor, and very gently you're peeling off on the out breath the spine from the floor. So sole of the feet on the floor, and you're coming into a bridge. So slightly apart than the hip distance, peeling off the spine very gently. Palms facing down, very gently lift up the spine, activate the pelvic floor. Now on the out breath, very gently dropping from the cervical spine to the thoracic spine and lumbar spine. Take your time. Now very gently tuck the tailbone under on the out breath, so you can take an in breath, peeling off the spine from the mat. Try to get that feet spread properly. Try to get those palms spread properly so there's no tension. Because if you really, when you release tension, you're releasing thoughts also, emotions too, that you have been clinging to for a long time. Now take a deep breath in and on the breath out, coming down for the breath. Now bring the left ankle towards the right knee. Left ankle towards the right knee. And we're gently holding onto the back of the thigh of the right. Back of the thigh only. And keep that right foot lift up onto the knee level. Flex knee level only, not higher or below. Now flex that foot towards you. Right foot flexing towards you. Flexing, not pointing. Flexing. So, yeah. I'll lift up the heel a little bit more, Deza. Now, very gently, you're inviting the right knee towards you, and you're just pushing the left knee away from you. If you can get one palm out, and then move that left palm towards the right left knee and push that left knee away from you. So you're inviting the right knee, you're flexing the right foot, and now stretch the right leg up to the ceiling. And bring the knee back again and drop it, and let's move on to the other side. With your own timing now. You're doing the same posture onto the other side. Foot flexing, knee is pushing away, thigh is pushed in. Stretch the leg up, and then very gently untangle it. Now very gently bring the knees to the chest, completely breathe out. Rock the spine and coming into seating posture. Gently twist the spine to the right. Back into the center onto the other side. Back into the center. Take a moment to reflect on but you're standing at the sitting on the space of the threshold where healing becomes honesty, safety has become seen, practice has becomes life recognizing yourself. And as I always say, this is not for everyone, but this it is for now. Arms raised onto the crown, palms onto the namaskar position. Take a deep breath in and chanting one Om of that realization on a vibrational level, on a frequency level. Om. Take a deep breath in and a silent humming within yourself. Let this practice be from safety to seeing beyond the illusion of self. quite boring place to be because there's nothing to entertain. But it is very enriching. Most of the boring places are the places of healing. Excitement is for ego. Namaste. So today, as you see, the nervous system of safety is not the destination in this class. So it is the ground. It's what allows for us to do the work. And we always say in this modern level of healing, it stops there because safety feels like a relief, but relief is not realization. Safety stabilizes the organism, it does not reveal the truth. So once the safety is present, the next step you guys went is not more healing, it is that getting that illusion out. And only few can go there. Collectively, we all can come into that realization. And that becomes the purpose of life. It doesn't mean not to enjoy life. There was nothing about that, but be aware of that. In that enjoyment, you may get caught up in things. So my love to you all, and big